We're back. Episode 4.
Episode 4.
Holy hell.
We're not canceled yet.
We're not. Thanks for not canceling us. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for not canceling us. Thanks for the YouTube subscriptions. Thanks for the comments. The comments have been ripping.
Yeah.
Ripping.
Yeah.
Oh.
We vacillate between people thinking that we're awesome for finally letting dads have conversations, and then people calling me a fat, monstrous troll for having conversations, which is good. It means we're doing our job.
Whatever promotes thought, and even if it's negative, if that gets it to a person where it gets into a positive place, I'm down.
Sure.
I don't care.
Sure.
You know, both of us have our big boy pants on. That's why we're here.
It's like we're WWE wrestlers, right? If the crowd likes us, then we're the face, and if they dislike us, they're the heel.
Yeah.
But they care, right?
If they care enough, if you care enough to leave a comment, God bless.
Swear to God, you care. You're engaging, right? I appreciate you.
Yep. You share it, you like it, you leave a comment, give us your thoughts, because we do our best to reply to the comments, right?
Yeah.
Because if you give a shit, then we give a shit too. And that's really what matters.
Yeah.
You know?
And you guys are funny. I got to give you guys credit where credit's due. When it comes to like scathing insults, some of you guys are funny, man. I respect a good comedian here and there. Yeah. But be warned, Jeff is funny back.
I'm very funny, just ask me. I'm extremely fucking funny. Well, but also I think it's when you get older, you lose that desire to be approved.
Yeah.
You know, and especially like as an older dad, I want my kids' validation. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing better for me than when all my kids are getting along and you hear them laughing.
Yeah.
Greatest sound in the world.
100%.
Greatest sound in the world. But also, I'm at a point at my age that if they go at it over something, I just let them go at it. I just let them do it.
Just get it out, right?
Yeah, get it out and hopefully find your own end to it, find your own conclusion.
Yeah.
And then what did you learn from that?
Conflict resolution at a young age is something super valuable to teach.
Dude.
We had boxing gloves growing up downstairs. So if ever you really had a problem with someone's antics or behavior, right, there was always a solution.
That's a great solution, by the way.
It's when you have 3 boys, to me, it's like the only solution, right? Are you really that mad about it? All right, let's find out.
That's a great solution. What's the first topic you wanted to dive into today, my friend?
90% of being dads is teaching discipline, because 90% of being a man, not a boy, not a male, but a man, is discipline. Do you agree with that?
I do. I think that we are put under such pressure as men and as dads that we have to be disciplined with our time, with our emotions, with our feelings, with our health. You know, because if not, it's like a stool, and if one of those legs gets kicked out, stool falls over. Yeah, and it affects how we dad if we're not disciplined, if we're not leading by example. Yeah, whether by it's our work ethic, physical fitness, what and how we eat, how we treat our spouses. If we're not in line with all that stuff, it goes sideways in fatherhood really fast. Yeah, right. The one thing that I'm gifted in many ways, but the one thing I did not grow up with is a sense of discipline, right? And it has led to my downfall and failure over and over and over again, right? If you watch me on Instagram, I'm really working hard on getting over the discipline of like going to the gym every day, right? And it's just taking something that's mundane or something that sucks. The David Goggins say, who gives a shit? It fucking sucks. Do it anyways, right? And it's learning that. It's something I didn't grow up with. And I think parents can make a mistake in any direction they want to. But if a dad doesn't teach their son discipline, I think it's the ultimate failure, right? Because it's the hardest thing to learn, right? I've quit smoking. I've quit drinking. I've learned how to work multiple jobs. I can do a lot of things, right? But staying disciplined, even into my late 30s, is a fucking challenge. It is something that never gets easier. Yeah. And we can be as disciplined as we want to be or we think we are, but honestly, it's a bitch. It's what Goggins calls like your inner bitch. Your inner bitch. It's your inner bitch. And your inner bitch is always there.
Yeah.
It's always there in the morning to go, hey, why don't you just pull up your phone and fuck around for a while?
Yeah.
Or why don't you just take today off? Or why don't you just do nothing today and figure it out later and not do it?
Yeah.
And that kind of shit. That stuff drives me nuts. And again, I'm all about balance. There's times I'll fuck off, but I also know that I need to bring money in for my family.
100%.
I need to earn for my family. I need to set the example for my kids.
100%. I never realized the value of discipline until I had a family, right? Because when it was just me, my thought process was, well, if something bad happens, it's just happening to me. I can deal with it, right? But the idea of my lack of discipline causing my wife to have to go back to work or work more, or causing my kid to not be able to do all the things that she wants to do because, oh, daddy didn't work hard enough this month, we can't afford it, right? Or, and this one hurts, my kid had dressing up for school day and she dressed up as me. She wanted to go like, her dress up as your dad day. And her outfit was funny. And then she put a pillow under her shirt to show my big fat beer belly. And in that moment, I said, oh no, is that how you see me? And I've started to go to the gym every day since then. Good for you. Right? Because it was like, oh no, if I don't care if everybody else sees me that way. I don't give a shit what you guys think, right? But I can't, you're proud of me. I can't have you thinking that like this lack of discipline is healthy or normal because it's not.
It's not.
And when it was just affecting me, I didn't care. But I can't let her grow up and think like guys who look like me, that's correct. I don't want that, right? Because now I'm setting a bad example of discipline.
Yeah. It is something that we will always not struggle with, but we'll always face that challenge, the challenge of discipline as dads. And it's something that we need to talk about more. I don't think that, that's something that we're creating here as a forum to talk about stuff. And for people like drop comments about stuff that you want to talk about or how you're feeling. And because dads just bundle it up. Unless you go to a therapist, you have no one to talk to about this stuff.
No one gives a shit what we feel, right? I saw a scroll on TikTok today. It was this old cowboy and he had that real grizzly voice. And he's like, every man you meet's got 10,000 struggles. And I'm like, yeah, this dude's fucking on it, right? Because no one cares, Jeff Fargo. They think, oh, you're on social media, you run a podcast, your life is perfect, you don't think about anything, right? But even as we're sitting here talking, I can look you in your eyes and realize as soon as you leave here, you've got 10 million things you have to handle.
Absolutely.
Right? 10 million things you're worried about, 10 million things you want to accomplish, but nobody gives a shit. Nobody comes up to you, they're like, hey, Jeff, how are you really feeling today? How are you handling the weight of the world?
I lose sleep almost every night because of the direction I'm taking myself in terms of like my job and my marketing company I own, the 2 podcasts I'm on. Yeah. Like I lose sleep at night over this shit. And a lot of times people look and go, oh, Brandon, you've got all these followers. It's all, unicorn jumping through rainbows. You're going to all these great restaurants. It's all fantastic. And no, like this is I won't say a grind, but it's challenging. Every day is just multiple challenges.
Every viral video you've ever seen of me is the worst day of my life. It's my drunkenest, pigging out, least disciplined moments ever, right? Like every video that's ever gone viral of me at Herbs and Rye with like, oh, here's steak and 18,000 cocktails, right? I went home that night and hated the shit out of myself. Yeah. And I knew the video was going to go viral, right? And it's such a weird... I've never talked about this with anybody. I'm glad we're sharing it right here across the table, right? Because my lack of discipline equals viral video somehow. And I never connected those two things until you and I started, conversating and talking with one another. But then again, nobody gives a shit. They want their content, right? No one's like, oh, Brandon, hey, you should take it easy on those drinks, right? They're like, hey, Brandon, go back to Herbs and Rye, post some more fucking videos for us.
It is something that it's probably the hardest thing in the world as a dad is to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
To be raw and vulnerable is the hardest thing in the world, to expose yourself to not being the provider, the protector, the lover to your spouse, the teacher to your kids. And to let them see you or let anybody see you as anything less than perfect as a dad, you feel like you're failing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a burden. But here's the problem. And here's the reason dads feel that way. It's because they're not wrong. I'm going to read you a few statistics about what happens when dads fail to be around. Because really, that's the ultimate failure, is not being there. We've talked about this before, right? You can fail in a lot of places, but being around is one. 85% of youths in prison come from fatherless homes. 70% of juvenile in-state operated institutions, so kids in juvie, come from single, no-father homes. 71% of high school dropouts come from fatherless homes, and here's the big one. 90% of all homeless and runaway children come from fatherless homes. So when dads are in this state of constant anxiety, it's because this belief of what will happen if we fail isn't a fairy tale. It's statistically proven. Yeah. If we fail, everyone fails. We have to succeed, right? That's the stress. That's the real stress. And that's what a lot of, I think, young males aren't teaching their kids, is like, no. If you're going to grow up and be a father and be a dad, there is no such thing as halfway. If you fail, we all fail. You must succeed. It's like what's the old burn the boats?
Yeah.
Where they pulled up and they
burn the boats.
And they burn the boats and they say, look, there is no option number two. Yeah. I think every dad, that jump from going to being a male to a man is accepting you can't fail.
Something I've seen since we started this, and it's been very interesting to me, because I study people and their habits. I study cultures and races and their habits. Okay. And coming into this, I don't know if it's true or not, but black men are more likely to leave the family unit over white men.
Statistically, yes.
Statistically, yes, right? Mm-hmm. Take that, however, the comments and the shares of our content on social media have been some of the most powerful black men. The stuff I've read moves me. Mm-hmm. And it's literally 98% black men who are stepping up and being amazing fathers, Brandon.
You want to know what happened? So back in like the late 50s, early 60s, the government would pay black women money if there was no father in the household. That's why in a lot of the black movies from the time, black TV shows at the time, you'll see the man comically jumping out the window or running away before the government man shows up, and they lose that check, right? And so this is also when the rise in black criminality rose, because you have all these fathers who can't be in the household, all these men who can't be around their families, and what does that lead to? You take a man away from his family, what does he have left? Right? And so the stigmatism became reality. The reality fueled the stigmatism. And now you have a bunch of black men who are looking to do their best to overcome that, right? With the added pressure of being a father, I have the added pressure of like being a black dad, where it's like, I have to really represent, right? I can't just be normal dad. I have to be super dad, right? Because I have to show the whole world, look, we can fucking do it.
It's something that I've been moved in a wonderful way, because these men that are reaching out, and it's like, I love it where like, look at me, like the salute emoji.
Oh, that
is just talk about being edified. I'm just like, oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful that, we're two different skin colors, but we're great friends and talk. A lot of times we are in the same track of how we feel about things, especially parenting and being a dad and a husband.
100%. That
it resonates across racial divides.
Yeah. You go to any suburban neighborhood. I live in Inspirata, right? So we got black dads up there, right? And let's be truth be told, it's like, it'll be like one black dad and then like 3 or 4 white guys and maybe like a Hispanic dad, whatever. None of them are in there like, talk. It's just, we're all dads. It's the one unifying thing. We all have the same issues. We all have the same stresses. We all like to drink beer, maybe get out and play a little golf, pickleball, whatever. You go to Chicken and Pickle, you see the same thing. You'll see a group of dads, one Asian guy, a black guy, like a community college calendar. it's what unites us. Being a dad is like the great uniter. I may know nothing about you, but if you're a good dad, I know that I like you, right?
I'm drawn to you if you're a good dad.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're an honest, present father, I'm drawn to you.
100%.
And I will more than likely do whatever I can to help you, wanting nothing in return.
Yeah.
For karma purposes.
Yeah.
It's almost like the people that drive, like the Harley riders, they always wave to each other. For Harley Davidson bikers going past another one, they always wave to each other. It's just an unwritten thing, I think, with dads.
Yeah. If I'm driving, this is anywhere. If I'm driving, I drive fast. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Vegas kid. I drive fast, right? But the second I see a dad with their daughter or their dad with their kids, brother, I'll do 1 mile per hour. Like it's an instant like, hey. I would, in my situation, I'd want to feel the same way.
No, I think it's something that it's powerful.
Yeah.
It's extremely fucking powerful.
It's a uniter.
Keeping marriage alive after kids.
Now, I'm going to need you to guide me on this one. I need you to take me there.
Happy to. The raw truth on balancing fatherhood, ambition, and love without losing your edge. How do I put this? I'll just say it. I've been married 3 times. I'm on my 3rd marriage.
Man, this man's not a quitter.
Nope. And the thing is, my wife, my current wife, my last wife, I'm done. I'm done. Done. And she said to me, and this was when we first started dating, she's like, she's like, we're going to get married. I'm like, hell no. She goes, well, we're getting married. I'm not doing this long term, just us like dating. And I said, I've already been married twice. She goes, I don't care. If you love me and I love you, we're getting married. I'm very traditional that way. Lo and behold, December 1st of last year, we got married. And it's been something that to keep it alive because, she's a nurse. We have her daughter, my stepdaughter, 16, lives with us. My kids are with us often. And my daughter's 15 and my son is 9. So it's finding the time, but it's like little things like a week and a half ago, I just went to Trader Joe's for stuff. She bought me flowers.
That's cute.
It was awesome.
That's cute.
I can count on one hand the time that I've had women have bought me flowers.
Yeah.
And that was number 2. So it moved me that between that and the biggest thing to keep our relationship alive is we're sending back and forth either funny or dirty DMs all the time.
I love that. I love that about you guys. If you guys have met,
time.
If you ever met Jeff's wife, man, she's funny like this in real life. Like this, Jeff's not imagining a caricature. When you meet her, she's
freaking hilarious.
Instantaneous funny.
She's hilarious, but she's naughty. And I love that because it's like I'm getting a little Hallmark card, a little digital Hallmark card all the time from her. And I know her brain, so it's like either ridiculously naughty or ridiculously hilarious. That keeps me with my ADHD focused on loving her. Yeah. Because she stays in front of me all the time with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that helps.
Do you find it to be, because so much of our life on my schedule revolves around the kid, right? Practices, schools, this, that, right? Yeah. So me and my wife are always around each other. It's like our great unifier, right? Do you and your wife have moments where you're like, okay, we're going to step away from the kids and just enjoy each other as people and not as parents?
We actually did a day date to Boulder City 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Kid-free.
Kid-free.
Okay.
And it was during the day, and my kids weren't with us. My stepdaughter was at school, so we went out to Boulder City and went antiquing and went to the Boulder Dam Museum that's out there in that hotel.
You're going to help me out. That's some white people shit. What is antiquing?
Antiquing is white people shit.
That's some white people shit.
Which is hilarious because the guy that owns the antique store is black.
Fucking the irony.
Talk about...
Is his name Mr. White?
Well, exactly. Didn't go that far, but he had this adorable, and it's just like all this like old, whether it's furniture or jewelry or just knickknacks all over the place that are old. Yeah. Like he had records in there. It was really cool, like old chips from casinos that are gone. It was neat. So we like looking at shit like that. Sometimes we get shit, sometimes we don't. There's a bunch of different little bars that are there. So we went to Dillinger's was the one we went to. Good chicken wings and beers were great.
Okay.
So went there, and they've got a really good fresh fudge and ice cream place that's right there on the main drag, like near their pizza place that's there. So we did all that stuff. We had a freaking blast. We're there for like 7-8 hours.
That fresh fudge hit you hard,
dude.
huh?
I am 100% of the time. I don't care if I ever have diabetes, as Wilford Brimley used to say, or if I'm morbidly obese. You see that giant piece of marble, and they're working it back and forth on the marble, and you're done.
That fudge's so good. Have you flirting with 65-year-old ladies like, oh, you make this much?
Done. I don't care, and I'm chocolate or chocolate peanut butter every single time. But a fresh fudge, I don't charge $1,000 a goddamn
with the little
pound.
walnuts. You like the little walnuts in there,
walnuts.
a little crunch in there.
Those are tracers.
It feels like, remember, what was that show from like the late 80s where with Weird Science, where the kids made like a supermodel out of
that was a movie.
Machine?
Yep. Anthony Michael Hall and Kelly LeBrock.
It feels like your wife. It feels like you are that kid who grew up and you printed your wife out of a machine. She loves doing all the dumb shit that you like to do.
She loves it.
She likes chicken wing and beers. She likes having sex with you still for some reason.
Still,
like you created a lady out of a machine. This dude Fargo got a machine in his house.
She made chicken wings. We bought a Traeger. She made chicken wings on the Traeger, so like smoked.
You lucky bastard.
And she makes her own dry rub. She's from Georgia. So she's got it all nailed down, dude. Nailed down.
Men have fought wars for women like that.
Yeah. Well, she's right now because she's got off work a little bit early, and she's doing like she does her charting and stuff from home. But right now, because today's St. Patty's Day, so she's doing corned beef and cabbage.
That's beautiful.
She's making a Guinness stout chocolate cake.
Damn.
Yeah,
I'm coming to your house, dude, for dinner.
It's bananas. And so, but to get back to the keeping marriage alive, it is finding the time for each other, for you and your spouse, and come hell or high water, go do something. Get out of the goddamn house, go out to dinner, go out for drinks. Like we've done it before. We're talking about the kids the whole time, but we're still sharing time together.
Do y'all ever do the Phil Dunphy where you and your wife will go on a date and pretend like you don't know each other, and then you try to pick her up from the bar as like a stranger? Jeff
No, but
Fargo?
I want to. And she's down for it.
She down for that?
Oh yeah. And she's a redhead. She's down to wear a blonde wig. She's down.
That would be content right there.
Yeah.
How would I pick up my wife? Yeah. Would you still have the moves?
Yeah.
You think you still have the moves?
I give her what's called an attitude adjustment.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, John Cena.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
It's called an attitude adjustment.
Me and my wife floated this idea once upon a time, and I said, I don't think I'm cute enough anymore to pick you up a second time. I think I'm glad I locked this in now. Because I don't know what my pickup line would be. It'd be like, hey, I drive a 2012 Honda CRV, and I would love to take you to Herbs and Rye sometime for a steak dinner.
You probably have it at Herbs and Rye.
That would have to be it.
It's a follow-through.
Right?
It's Herbs and it doesn't matter.
My pickup line would have to be like, hey, do you have social media? Have you seen me there? I've always wanted to ask, like, I see these couples that do like the RVing together or like empty nesters, I think they call them. And I've always wanted to talk to them and I don't want to be weird. Like, hey, how's your relationship? Are you guys still fucking, right? I don't want to be that weird, creepy dude, but I've always wanted to know, like, hey, you guys were married, you had kids for the last 25 years, right? And now it's just you. Is the same spark there? Are you even the same people as when you first met? What you were originally attracted to that person for after 25 years of diapers and bullying and making sure they fit in soccer practices, is the I want to fuck you spark still alive? It
is something worth having a discussion about, and at some time we should have on like a dad who the kids are gone. And it's just him and his wife.
Yeah.
And maybe he's retired or about to be retired. And how does that change the family dynamic when you're now spending more time with your wife?
Yeah.
Because the kids are gone. That's a great topic.
Yeah.
I would think that it grows. It's a lot of talk. You have to be able to be talking with your spouse at all times, good, bad, or ugly.
Yeah.
About how you feel.
Yeah.
And because hopefully it's like, it just gives you more time to get freaky. In
my instance, I've known my wife since I was 18, right? She was 15. And so at the time, she could be attracted to me because I was way cooler than her, right? I was the coolest person she knew, right? So I had that going for me. But over the past 20 years, now she knows me as just this lovable, affable dad. Like, we've become better friends, right? Like, when I first met my now wife, like, I was just like, oh, I want to put it in you, right? There was no like, we're not friends, right? I find you sexy, right? And now she's my best friend. Now we have best friend stuff together, right?
Which is the best.
Which is the best.
It's the best.
I would trade our best friend life now over our, 20-year-old sex life then, any day of the week. Any day. I would never, if I had to pick one or the other, I would always pick the best friend side.
I couldn't agree more.
Always. But I've been curious, again, because guys, we walk around with a million possible fears in our head, right?
All the time.
The wondering of like, okay, when this kid is gone and we're back to each other, how are we going to fill these days, right? That's 4, 5, 6, 7 hours in a day that are now just us. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do? Is it still there?
The greatest fear I have in my relationship with my wife is, and this comes from my mom, it comes from past relationships, is that, and it's rare, but if my wife becomes short about something, she's not a yeller, but she'll get short about something. There's a brief moment in me that thinks she's going to leave me.
Ooh.
Yep. And it happens to me every single time on those rare instances that she is being short with me about something. And she's right with what she's talking about.
Yeah.
But there's always part of me that's like, are you going to leave?
Is it
every time?
Do you have prior abandonment issues? Is that something you've dealt with your whole life? Or does she specifically make you feel that way?
No, it's something I've had from my mom. Was that my mom suffered from depression and was at work more than momming me.
Yeah.
And loved to drink and smoke cigarettes and and do her thing. I mean, I'm Gen X, man. I was raised, 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
My mom was at work most of the time. And then I've had some marriages that just didn't go well. And again, it's 50-50, but the stuff that got laid on me, like I've never had someone be nice to me the way my wife is now. It's bananas.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You just said the magic words. We talked earlier about black dads, right? And this is going to tie it all together. One of the big things that black guys get thrown their way is the women, especially the white women that we choose to be with. And what I tell the people is exactly what you just said. Bro, do you know the last time that a woman was nice to me? Straight up. My favorite thing about my wife is that she was like nice, right? And that fear of like, I'm not afraid of losing someone to have sex with. I'm afraid of losing the only person in my world who is unconditionally nice to me, right? Even when I feel like I don't deserve it, they're just like kind. It's the only kindness I'll receive all of today, right? Other people may have admire or respect or they want something from me, but she's the one person who's just like, no questions asked. Here's some niceness in the morning.
Is your biggest cheerleader.
Yes.
Is your biggest fan. Would be with you, whether it's wealth or poverty.
Yep.
No matter what. And to get to that point is like having a Powerball ticket.
Yeah.
I think it's rare these days. I think most people bounce at as soon as things get hard.
Yeah.
Because people's communication skills are lacking and diminished. And so they won't dig in a positive way, not in a defensive way, but dig in to say, hey, we're in this together, baby. Let's talk.
We've built a culture that rewards emotional fragility. So young women especially are rewarded for running away, right? They're rewarded for saying, this person made me uncomfortable or challenged my worldview. They're a narcissist. They're toxic, right? And my comparison, and I know this is like the one topic you and I disagree on. Everybody loves talking about mental health, right? But to me, therapy is like drinking a Diet Coke. Will it help? Sure. But you also need to hit the gym and work on being stronger, right? And I think we can directly correlate the absence of fathers and strong male role models with this mental fragility. Yeah. There's just I saw a really cool TikTok video, man, where this dad, his son, he's like, run a lap. And he's like, why? He goes, when did we come out here and practice? And the kid forgot. And he's just like, run a lap. Kid starts crying. He goes, those tears aren't going to save you. Run a lap, right? Kid gets back. He goes, what did we learn today? He goes, well, I think it's about double plays. And dad's like, you don't remember? No. Run another lap. And you could see the comment section where half the people are like, oh, he's being abusive to the kid. The kid's crying.
Oh, please.
He's crying. And it's like, and the other half's like, no, that's why your kid wins participation trophies, because your dad didn't do this to you, right?
We need to protect our kids from weakness and entitlement.
Say that shit again.
We as fathers, it is paramount that we protect our kids from weakness and entitlement. Full stop.
God bless.
We have to.
Yes.
We have to, because there's so many parents out there now they're taking their kids' tests. They are doing their kids' homework for them. I know it for a fact because I have friends that are teachers, and like middle school, parents coming in screaming at the teacher because the kid got an A-. Meanwhile, the parent was the one that was doing the homework for the kid.
100%.
And it is just tearing apart the fabric of our society.
100%. The world will do everything in its power to convince your kids that they are victims, right? Because as long as they're victims, they can never be victors, right? As long as you're a victim, you can never be a victor. You can't be a winner. And I think you said it the best, weakness and entitlement. It's a combination of one of those. If you're entitled, but you have the strength to back up that entitlement, hey, man, by all means. Like we talked about earlier, the guys from Dagestan. Okay, if you're a Dagestan UFC guy, one of the stans, and you are entitled to thinking that you can whoop everybody's ass, but you are strong enough to whoop everybody's ass, hey, brother, take your entitlement with you. But it's the weakness part of it, right? And I've never heard anybody phrase it the way you just phrased it. We have to protect them from weakness. We have to protect them from weakness. Not only can we not allow it, we must protect them from it.
It is something that we have to be vigilant in that role every day.
Yep.
And that's why with both of my kids, I'm always checking in with them on a couple things. One, like, how is school? How is stuff going? Your friend group, everything else. Yeah. But also I check in with them and I say, how am I doing as a dad?
Ooh.
How am I doing?
Ooh.
What would you do differently?
Man, that's the note. That's good shit, Jeff.
What would you do differently if you were in my position, given this situation that we're talking about right now? But how am I doing as a dad?
That's good.
And it is getting constant feedback from my kids who are different in ages, but it's so their view of things come at it differently, but the stuff they'll tell me is wonderful.
Really? You're getting good responses from them.
Oh, yeah. Because I'll tell, especially my son, who Jack's the best. He's 9. He's an empath's empath. He wants everyone. He's kind to everybody. He waves and says hi. He's a schmoozer, and it's awesome. And I'll say, honey, what can I do better as a dad? He's like, nothing, Dad. You're the best dad in the world. You're awesome. And I love that. But I would love one day, and he will. It's coming, that he'll say, you know what, Dad, you're awesome, but when you said this to me at this certain time, I wouldn't have said that. I would have said this. Then there's the breakthrough.
Okay.
That's the breakthrough, is when your kids are giving you constructive criticism about how you parent. They still know the pecking order. They still know that I'm the dad.
Yeah.
However, they can come to me, like there's still the comment box. You can still fill a comment out and we can still go over it.
Yeah.
All right. You can still, I want to know what you're thinking. And I do that a lot with my kids. A lot.
So you've run away from the old like East Coast Catholic dad of take your feelings, bury them shit. And my kids can do the same thing.
I grew up with a lot of that, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work because then you start to internalize and you become, you're projecting out as this confident, strong, powerful, successful man, where on the inside, every single night you're crying. You're just like, what did I do wrong today? And you're focused more on the bad things instead of getting balance in your life with finding a way to get rid of that, whether it's talking to your spouse, a therapist, working out, whatever.
Yeah. I think most people are scared of that big, hairy butt, right? Everybody's scared of that butt. Hey, you're a great dad, but, and I think that's why a lot of people don't ask that question.
I agree.
It's the butt that they're afraid of, right?
The thing I've always done is, you praise in public, you criticize in private.
Yeah.
So if one of my kids fucks up, when they do, 90% of the time, we isolate and we talk about it.
Okay.
I don't yell. because yelling doesn't work because it gets them more defensive and emotional. We talk about it.
Do you use the sandwich method?
So like nice and then criticize and then nice?
Yeah. So with
no.
No?
I know it, but I don't do it. And I probably should. I'm more of I'm right here, man. I'm just right here the whole time.
Okay.
And I always end it with, is there any questions you have? Is there anything that I'm talking about that you don't understand?
Yeah. That's
so I do that, but I took Toastmasters. And so the whole sandwich thing, I just don't do it with my kids.
okay.
With my clients, I do sometimes. But with my kids, I don't because they'll see through it.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What if you go, so with guys, I always go criticism, compliment, criticism. I reverse it because I feel like it's more, we're guys. For some reason, if you say something critical or mean about me, I'm more likely to believe you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just a dude thing or that's how our brains work, right? But hey, you need to listen better. We could get here, but if you listen better, right? It's always like packaging between criticisms.
I think that when you start to reach a level of success, where it's notoriety or financial success or whatever, you get more people that are going to kiss your ass.
Yeah.
And I've always seen, like, I'm not an ass kisser. At least I try not to be.
Yeah.
And so I'm brutally honest with people, whether it's they have an M after their name, a B after their name, whatever their net worth is. And I've always found that resonates much more with people that are more successful to give, and be honest and give them open and honest constructive criticism, because usually they're not getting it.
No. But has it ever backlashed on you? Have you ever ran into, I know this happened to me before. I've run into a client who, this was years before, but who they wanted their ass kissed, right? They had lived in that bubble for so long that the first time I presented a opinion outside of that, they were like looking at me crazy.
It is, I've never had it backfire on me just because I'm at a point in my life where I'm just going to sling it.
Sure.
And if you like it, great. I'm not coming from a position of harming you or trying to disrespect you. Mm-hmm. It's just, I want to help.
Yeah.
And if I come across as gruff sometimes or not professional, okay.
I think you're professionally authentic.
I think I am. I try to be.
Yeah.
Like I launched a podcast at 53.
Which is so baller.
And went all in, like with my own personal money from inheritance from my mom passing away. And 2 years later, now it's in the black.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. And so now, like with my marketing company now is profitable. Am I making the money I made when I was a title rep? No, but no one's making the money that they were making, like 2021, 2022, 98, 99. There was a little chunk during COVID in 2020, but there was, back then it was like, I remember I was at First American Title for 4.5 years and I left there in August. And I remember I had 152 deals that I just left on the table to go to a competitor. Left it, knew I wasn't going to get paid on it, about $25,000 check. Yeah. Walked away from it for a better position somewhere else.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to make those moves.
Sometimes you've got to make those moves and be ballsy.
But I remember the first time, I rarely remember the first time I meet somebody, right? I rarely. But my first 2 meetings with you, you had the one quality I care about more than anything in the whole world. You had a absolute mega amount of not giving a fuck. We were around somebody, and you know who this person is. We were around somebody who gives a lot of fucks. And it was so funny to watch me and you not give a fuck in the same vicinity. And I was just like, oh, anytime you ever want me on, I'm here for it, right? Because you're professionally authentic. And
thank you.
To me, if I could give the highest of comp, that's my favorite one. You said something earlier that I meant to jump on, but then we got into conversations about your wife doing awesome shit and I got distracted. You said, having ADHD really helps with parenting your kid. And I've never heard that before. What did you mean?
It works for me because I can juggle a lot of things at once in my head. It's a superpower for me, having ADHD. And I know if my son is going through a challenge or needs to be praised about something because he was in chess club or whatever, or my daughter was in a performance or was working at a performance and something happened cool in her friend group.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that I always, I'm very good at pivoting, and I can kind of stay on task with them and be in the moment with them. I really try hard to keep my phone on Do Not Disturb when they're in the car with me. I want to set the example also because my daughter's going to be driving soon. So I want to show her, like, you don't be on your phone when you're driving.
Yeah.
Even though I'm on it when they're not in the car. Fuck on. Oh, please, I'm on all this. Like, I was thinking today when I was driving here, I can't wait for Elon Musk to come out with that robo taxi. It's like going to be like 35 grand and you just get into it and it takes wherever you want to go. It's autonomous. I'm done. Sign me up.
Sign me the fuck up.
As soon as whenever you can get a deposit, I'm in.
Sign me up.
Because the amount of what that would do to free me up to get more shit done.
Yeah. Oh my God. You could make calls from the car. You could edit videos from the car. You could record content from the car. Oh shit, I'm driving by the strip. Here goes the Caesars, right? You and me both, brother. The day, I don't give a fuck what you feel about Elon Musk. I don't care. Keep your politics away from it. The second the robo-taxi's here, I'm sorry to taxi drivers in Vegas, but I'm signing up for that shit.
I'm in, and I just think that whatever can get me more time.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going with stuff now with AI and everything else.
Time
it's just something that it's a battle. It's a battle because I'm not into porn that much. I mean, every guy's into porn a little bit, and if you're not, you're fucked up. But I'm into like Call of Duty on my phone. I play Call of Duty Mobile
on your phone.
On my phone.
That's a boomer activity right there.
Call of Duty Mobile. I go sideways. I'm sitting there. I'm either doing. I'm fucking shooting people. I'm getting shot in the head. I'm yelling and screaming.
Is it on the phone for convenience, or do you just like it that way?
I just like it that way, and I've been playing it now for 3 years. Like, I'm over level 300. Like, I'm getting up there now. I'm like Grand Master for the Battle Royales, which is hilarious.
I love there's some punk-ass kid on Call of Duty Mobile cussing you out thinking you're a peer, and it's fucking you.
When I first started, I had it on, like, team mode and the volume on and my microphone activated, and I'd hear, Fargo, get the fuck out of my way. What's wrong with you? And it's some kid who's 9 years old, whose balls haven't dropped yet, screaming at me, and rightfully so, because I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah. Now I just go when I have all that muted and turned off. I don't talk to anybody. And I just do my thing. But that's like my guilty pleasure is I play Call of Duty. And I'll do it in bed. I'll do it when I'm on the couch. And if the kids are over, if they're doing their own thing, I pull my phone up and I'm playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times they don't want to engage with you.
They don't give a shit.
Right.
You know, and we have it's nice now at the house. My daughter is looking at TikTok videos all the time. That's her thing. My son, we have a VR headset, Oculus. He's playing VR games. That's like active. Like he's running around doing stuff and,
So you don't have the great fear of screen time that we see kind of permeating throughout social media right now?
I don't, Brandon, because I have something with TikTok. It monitors my daughter's screen time every single week, so I know how many hours she was on. I know if it's up or down, or if I need to turn it off, I can turn it off. I never have, but she's pretty good at self-regulating. Okay. We had a few times when she was younger that I know she was up until 2 or 3 in the morning, and then she's up at 5 to go to school, and she was dragging. I'm like, what'd you learn from this? Not be on my phone. Exactly right.
Exactly.
I don't want to take your phone from you, but if I have to, I will.
Sure. You've heard to let them learn from their own mistakes,
yes.
Right? Yeah.
It's the easiest way.
What is because I love my parents. If any of you watch this and think that like, just because I talk about my parents, whatever, I love my parents, right? But they were not into let me let you make a mistake and learn from it. It was like, you've made this mistake, punishment, right? It was just,
you're getting fucked up.
Instantaneous hand on the stove, punishment, right? There was no learning time. There was no, and I know as an adult, it's made me overly cautious or fearful from trying new things, right? Because I'm still waiting for that punishment to come down from the heavens, And so you prefer just kind of, hey, you made a mistake. Did you learn from it? How many times will they have to make that mistake before you step in?
I don't step in.
Never.
Well, not never, but rarely. Because if I step in, I'm failing as a father. If I step in to correct my kid's behavior, I'm failing as a father.
How so? How so?
Because they didn't figure it out on their own. So then I have to step in and do it for them. Now, I'd say 80% of the time, I let my kids figure it out on their own. And they do. They like the greatest thing ever. Like my son did it a couple of days ago about something was in the fridge. I'm like, I go, let me help you. Nope, I got it. He's 9. Nope, I got it. There are very few ways I let my kids talk to me in a way that's corrective to me.
Yeah.
But they can tell me they've got it, and 100% of the time I back off.
Okay.
100% of the time.
Because you're not going to steal their self-esteem for your own ego, right?
Absolutely, Brandon.
Yeah.
That's my job for however long I'm on this earth is to get my kids ready.
Yeah.
Ready for the bully, ready for a job, ready for financial independence, ready for marriage, ready for parenthood. And again, as you get older, you parent literally every day like it's your last day on the planet.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And so when I'm with them, it's like, let's go. How can I help you? But also sometimes it's letting your kids be bored. That's okay.
Yeah.
Let your kids be bored.
Fuck yeah.
So when we talk about the whole thing with going on with screen time, thank God we have microphones. No one can pick up that giant train going by right now. Thank God that Level 9 Studios is so good. Shout out to Scott Vera at Level 9.
Shout out, right?
A Amtrak could be going by with 1 million people, all double-decker. Hey, there's a Vegas trip. You have no idea at home.
Every time a train runs by Vegas, it's such a flashback for me because I'm like, oh shit, we're a farming town.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. So sorry, a little ADHD moment for you. But I think with your kids, it is something that it's okay for them to be bored. I remember growing up several times, but there weren't fucking cell phones around. Cable TV was just coming out.
Yeah.
Like I remember it was a treat to go to Fort Lauderdale to see my grandparents, and they had MTV.
Oh, yeah.
Back in like the late 70s, early 80s, when MTV was just rolling out, and my grandparents had it in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
And so, and it's something that my wife taught me. Because at one time I was like, I got to go downstairs and check on Jack. She goes, why? I go, well, he gets bored. And she said, it's okay if your kids are bored. And I went, God damn it. That's
good.
That's fucking good.
Yeah. And man, has it hit you? I have found myself, I used to, I don't even have time to think anymore. I think one of the benefits of doing this podcast is I always want to come in with some new spicy topic to throw at you, right? So it's forced me to think. I got to think, oh, okay, how am I going to say this? But there was a period where from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed, I would never allow myself to be bored, right? If I'm sitting on the toilet taking a dump, going through TikTok, right? If I'm, walking up the stairs to my bedroom, scrolling through TikTok, right? At all periods of the day, I needed some form of stimulation. And I'm like running my dopamine out of service, I think letting yourself be bored, I think the sooner you teach that to someone, the better.
Absolutely.
The better.
There is great value in putting your brain in neutral.
Yeah.
Great value in that. Because then it slows you down enough that when you have to process challenges, you can do it from more sure footing.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Right? That you are on more stable ground because you've taken some time to get back away from stuff.
Yeah. And it gives you more time to think about the decisions you've made in a day.
Oh,
I found how many times, and I don't know if other dads have done this, but I guess most of us are humans. We've shared these emotions. How many times that I've had a painful thought or a thought that makes me uncomfortable to think about. And instead of just dealing with it, instead of just being like, okay, I just grab my phone and I'm like, let me find some stupid video to take my mind off of things, right? I'm running from the uncomfortability or the painful thought through social media. And I think a lot of people, I don't think I'm special at all. I think a lot of people are doing the same thing.
Absolutely. I think that, you see it now, like I'll see kids, they're hunched over on their phones and it's like the spine, like I'm like, oh my God, you're a chiropractor's wet dream. There's stuff that's happening now that if we don't put some type of limits on screen time, like my kids are staying with us because it's spring break. So we've been watching Adam Sandler movies. Which are, they watch The Waterboy.
They like it because he looks like them. They dress together.
That's exactly how my daughter dressed like Adam Sandler. They loved Waterboy. Loved it. Which the movie's hilarious. Last night, Billy Madsen, which I never watched it. It was okay. But next up is Happy Gilmore.
The best.
Which is one of the best movies of all time.
The GOAT. Yeah, the GOAT.
Right?
The GOAT.
So, but and when in doing that, or also like right now, I'm watching The Office with my daughter. So last night, I go into her bedroom, I bring my laptop with me, and we snuggle up on her bed. We open it up, and we watch 3 or 4 episodes of The Office together.
That's adorable, by
and
the way.
die. And we just die laughing.
That's adorable. Though.
And after that, it's going to be Modern Family. Phil Dunphy.
Now,
we'll be next.
Yeah. Me and my... No one would guess it, right? Because me and my brother are both, 6'2" black guys. But Phil Dunphy's our hero. Phil Dunphy's our hero. Phil Dunphy lives in a world where everybody hates and disrespects this man. And episode after episode, he just continues to be the most loving, supporting. His wife is always flirting with firefighters or talking about some dude she fucked in college. Just the typical TV wife. Shits on her husband. Phil Dunphy not once does to get him down, bro. He wakes up every day, makes those 2 girls laugh, deals with his, silly little kid, and just all day, best dad you could possibly be. To me, he's like, if he wasn't so soft and feminine, to me, he's like the best TV dad of all time.
And the reason why he's so good at that, as we talked about at the beginning of this episode, he's disciplined.
He's disciplined.
He's disciplined.
That man's a realtor, but you would never know it because he always has time for his family, but then he never takes a day off of work, And I think it's something that you don't... When I first started watching Modern Family, because that show's been on the air for
forever,
14, 15 years.
Yeah.
When you watch it in your 20s, you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, he's a dad. You start to get older, you're like, how does he have so much time to deal with each of his kids' individual He's a realtor. He does my job. And he's selling nice-ass homes. You see that fucking house he lives in? His wife don't work. Phil is putting in work, right? And you get older, you're like, yo, Phil is my hero. This man is probably working 80, 90-hour weeks, pumping out 70, 80 homes a year to afford that house. But he never ever takes out his problems on his kids. He never is undisciplined. He's always focused. That man cooks dinner half the time. And like, that's, I know it's a TV dad, so it's obviously unrealistic, but like little girls have Barbie. I have Phil Dunphy.
It's awesome.
Right? Little girls have this fake character they want to be. Phil Dunphy is my Barbie, right? I want to be like that guy.
He's great. Millennial versus Gen X dads. Real talk on parenting styles. Which generation is actually raising stronger kids? Millennials or Gen X?
So what age would you put Gen X dads? What age would your kids be? Let's say the average Gen Xer has their kids at what, like 30, 31, 32? Where would you put Gen X kids at?
I would say,
would it be kids born in the 90s? Would it be,
I had my first, I'm 55 now, and we had Alex. I was 39. She was born in 2009. Okay. And I was 39 years old when we had her. And I was later, like most of my friends, like my best friend, Sean, he's going to be out here this weekend. Both of his kids now, one is married in his early 30s, is married and in Charlotte. And then their youngest is 22. Yeah. And about to, go do his own thing. Yeah. And Sean's my age.
I'm supposed, because as the resident millennial here, I'm supposed to be the one that stands up for millennials. But if you guys know anything about me, I think millennials are the softest group of human beings to ever exist in world history. Like peak Roman society, living off grapes and wine and little boys and shit. Like millennials are just the softest. And I think our kids are called iPad kids. You ever seen these kids? The kids who just like were born with an iPad and just like have been staring at it their whole life. There's jokes about it on TikTok, the iPad kids. They go to their friend's house and the first thing they say is, hey, what's the Wi-Fi? Because they're just going to stare at their iPad at their friend's house. Those are millennials kids. I think Gen X kids, I think your kids grew up with that a little bit more toughness, right? Yeah. A little bit more toughness, a little bit more prepared for the world, right? Prepared that the world isn't going to give them a trophy every time they cough or sneeze or fart, So if this is supposed to be some sort of battle, I concede. I concede.
Oh, I don't think it's a battle. I think it's just it's different teaching styles. And I think the true measure of what works is going to be 10 to 15 years from now when Gen X kids, again, older dad of younger kids, when my kids enter the job market, how are they going to be compared to a millennial who does millennial things like iPad kids and all that? How's an iPad kid going to be when they hit the job market? Yeah. Like I took my daughter, we went to China Mama at Palace Station. Because I picked her up at school. We go there. It was very good. And then for afterwards, we love In-N-Out burgers and milkshakes. They have the best fucking milkshakes on the planet. Those Neapolitan milkshakes
Simple.
for like $3.50.
Simple, yeah.
Cash the check, man.
Yeah.
And we go right over here off Sahara, and it says right there, now hiring starting at $17.50 an hour. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God.
I might quit selling real estate and go flip some fucking burgers.
If I was 16 years old, my ass would be there like at opening.
Yeah.
Hi, what can I'll shovel shit. I'll clean the bathrooms. What do you need me to do?
Yeah.
But kids these days, and this goes across section, like there's no desire to drive. There's no desire to go out and get a job.
Yeah.
And so the way I parent is like my stepdaughter or my daughter or whatever. So I want to get this. That's nice. Go get a job. Go get a job. Because when you buy something with your own money you've earned, it's so much sweeter than when you buy it with money that's been given to you.
Literally, you can buy milkshakes, right? It's because their job, and no one talks about this, but we all know it's true. In their heads, their job is going to be, I'm an influencer, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm Mr. Beast. The second kids started making $5 million from winning a video game competition, they could tell their parents, hey, look, that's my future, right? And it's no different than a kid telling their mom, hey, I'm going to be in the NBA, right? Yeah. This is my profession. I'm going to be Mr. Beast. I'm the next one. And how do you tell them they're wrong? How do you tell your kid, hey, look, there's a good chance you're not the next YouTube superstar. You're not the next TikTok.
It's something that I think I told you this already. I went for a walk with Jack a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about work and things like that. And he was asking me about crypto.
Okay.
He's 9.
I love your walks with Jack, by the way.
Asking me about crypto. Yeah. And I'm like, honey, it's extremely volatile. So I had to talk to him about S&P 500. And let's look at that. We look at more strong. I go, honey, crypto is so volatile, you could give them $1 and it's worth 25 cents the next day. Yeah. And it's worth $2.50 the day after that. And then 33 cents the next day. I said, that's no way to base you to make money long term. I said, what you do is you put an S&P 500 fund. It's the 500 strongest companies traded on the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
That's it. It's the 500 strongest companies, 18% return year over year for the life since the inception of the S&P 500.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than that.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, okay, because I've talked about it. He gets paid right now $5 to pick up all a Cookie is our dog. Once a week, he goes back to the backyard, picks up all the dog shit of Cookies. He gets $5 for that every single time.
You got a big ass dog. Those are mounds. Those are horse mounds. Yeah. Jack ain't getting no free $5. I want y'all to know that shit.
No, Jack earns his shit.
Jack earns his shit.
And it's $1 to go to the mailboxes, and he goes in with the key, another key down below for packages, all the whole shit he does, and that's $1. I pay him immediately.
I love that. No Venmo. I want that shit in cash.
There's no net 30.
I want that shit.
There's no net 30 with my son, Brandon. I pay him immediately because I've taught him what, and I really try hard to do that, is you want to pay people as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Now, it's not always the case, but usually, because I grew up, we owned a restaurant. Everything was net 30. Everything. You do net 30 now, someone's going to fucking laugh at you.
Yeah.
For you to put net 30 on your, QuickBooks invoice to somebody, they're going to look at you like, what?
What stone age did this person come
Exactly. Thank you, Fred Flintstone.
Thank you, Fred Flintstone.
No, not happening. Right. So it's more of, I'm trying to teach my kids, like, if you have debt, you get it paid off as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And you do whatever you can to get it taken care of.
Yeah.
But you pay your fucking bills. The end.
You putting your kids in debt to teach them an early lesson?
No, Jesus. They could learn from me about that one.
I think every generation has its flaws, right? And we've discussed this before. I think Gen X, behind all their anti-establishment, authority, I think they retained the boomer work ethic of like, the solution to your problems is work.
I agree.
And it takes discipline to be that kind of person, right? So at the end of the day, I think that's why your guys' kids actually have a significantly better chance of faring than millennial kids, is because whatever flaws we impart on our kids, that work ethic and discipline that you guys have bestowed upon them, I think that's why you see so many young hustlers and entrepreneurs and 24-year-old wholesalers, right?
Absolutely. Well, it's like I took my daughter to a doctor's appointment today for something, nothing major, but when she's on the exam table and the nurse practitioner comes in, I'm sitting over in the corner and I'm actually doing like topics for the show. I'm on ChatGPT. I'm looking up stuff. I'm making edits to the Google Drive thing we have. And doctor comes in, nurse practitioner comes in. I put my phone away and he starts asking questions to Alex. I don't say a word. I'll let her talk for herself.
Yeah.
Well, what do you have? What's going on? What part of your body? Blah, 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 blah. I let her have that conversation with him. I don't step in at all. I guarantee you, out of every 10 kids that walk in there that are 15 years old with a parent, out of 10 of them, 9 of them, the parents will do all the talking.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Where I shut the fuck up. My kids need to verbalize what they're going through, to talk to a doctor, to talk to someone at the bank, to talk to a financial planner, whatever.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to have an articulate conversation with somebody.
We took, my teenage daughter has these sleepovers, right? And I'm Brandon from Vegas. So a lot of the girls, they know me and they want to go eat food, right? So I'll take them to a restaurant, somewhere fun, whatever. And we took them to a restaurant about a week ago. And half the girls are afraid to talk to the waiter. They've never put in their own order before. Oh, what do you guys want? Tell the waiter. Hey, I want the sweet and sour soup. Can you order it for me? No, just tell the waiter what you want. Just tell the waiter what you want. And I can't pretend that I'm not guilty of this because I do it for my, I know her order in advance, so I can just tell the waiter. And I really should take that. I'm going to add that. You guys, every time we do this podcast, whenever Jeff says something, I'm like, add that to the list, right? And because I want to come back here and share.
I want to know
how it worked with you, right? I want to know. Because this isn't, again, we have to reiterate for the millionth time, this is not me and Jeff sitting here saying we're better at things than you. Hey,
Correct.
We're better dads than you.
Nope.
This is us doing what men have done throughout time. Here's our experiences. Here's what's worked for me. Give it a shot. See if it goes for you, right? If I come back here and I'm like, hey, Jeff, your idea, dog shit. We can talk about it. But
Absolutely.
so far, the ideas that you've given me about being vulnerable, about opening up, about talking about difficult situations with them, so far, we're batting 1,000 around here. So have
I love it.
Order or herself.
Yep, it is, and it is something that, again, this is a Gen X in me, but you're failing as a parent if you're ordering food for your kids. If you're ordering food for them, you're failing as a parent because they need those verbalization skills. They need to build their self-confidence. Talking to a complete stranger who wants you to order, like they're rooting for you. The server is rooting for your son or daughter to articulate in a manner that they can write it down and put the order in.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you're failing as a parent. You're failing as a parent if you go to self-checkout at a grocery store and your kids don't know how to scan all the food.
Yeah.
And you give them your debit or credit card and teach them how to put the PIN number in and pay for everything.
Yeah.
It's basic pumping gas. Basic life skills.
Basic life skills.
Basic life skills, Brandon, that so many kids do not possess these days.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm open about it. My kid's going to eat those kids' fucking lunch.
Yeah.
In another 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Those kids are done.
Dude.
The Fargo kids will lay those kids to waste.
I think, and this is where, man, you're going to get a lot of black dads on this because that's the way a lot of black dads think. When we're, trying to teach sons, daughters, he's like, I want my kids to fucking destroy your kids. I'm all for peace, love, and happiness, but that's only when my kids are winning.
Correct.
Right? If my kids are losing, it's time for war, right?
Yeah.
If my kids are winning, we can do peace, love, and happiness, but I want my kids to fucking crush everybody. I don't care if it's band. I don't care if it's ordering food. I don't care if it's being a good friend. I want my kid to be better than everybody else's. And I think that is where kids with good fathers, that's where they're going to dominate. They are not going to be held back the way this world holds a lot of these kids back, right? I think the gap in wealth over the next decade, 20 years, like you said, we won't know if people are good dads for many years down the road, but I think you're going to see a massive wealth gap grow even bigger between the kids who had good parents and the kids who didn't.
And it doesn't matter. I agree. It doesn't matter if the parents have a lot of money and just give it to the kids. Actually, those kids are going to fuck off with that money faster than anything else. And then they're really screwed.
Because they don't know how to get back to the top.
Right. Because that was me.
Yeah.
Growing up, my mom spoiled me. My family had money. And so everything was paid for. And it really I didn't know work until really back when I was married to my second wife, to Becky, and we had Alex, because she was working at Del Webb teaching 7th and 8th grade English. And I was first American title as a title rep. I was there. It was my second year. I was just starting to do okay.
Yeah.
And she said, if you can make this happen, Jack was born. It was when Jack was born. And Jack was born in December. She says, I have maternity leave until April. I'm back for a month or so. I'd like it that financially I don't want to go back to work. And I made it happen.
Yeah.
But that was the first time that I had a fire under my ass. And when Jack was born, I was 46.
Yeah.
47 when I was born, something like that.
But it's something I've always respected about you, right? You've never decided that you were too old to learn something new.
No.
Right? Like you said, you started podcasting at 53. You learned how to work your ass off at 46, right?
Yeah.
But because you were willing to because that has to be humbling.
Oh, God,
You're
yes.
46 years old. You've made it through 45 years of life doing it a certain way. Who is anybody to tell you to do things differently, right? You probably had to humble yourself pretty significantly.
I'm humbled, Brandon, every day now at 55 because I see people that are twice my age with far much more money than I've ever seen in my entire life, or success of people. And it's the toxicity of my brain these days is I'll see someone on TV. I'll be like, motherfucker is 34 years old and has the world ahead of them. I didn't know my ass from my elbow until I was in my mid 40s. So that's what but I try to give myself grace to go this, and that's how my wife helps me too, to be like, honey, you're on your own path.
Yeah.
And you're doing something that most people never have the balls to do in the first place. So I'm making less money now than I ever have in my entire life almost, but I've never been happier.
Yeah.
I've never been to be able to do this with you.
Yeah.
And that we have hundreds of thousands. We got one of our clips is going to hit 1 million.
Which is nuts.
Which is bananas.
Which is nuts. Second show out.
Right? Second show out.
Crazy, man.
That we've got several that are viral because what we're talking about is resonating to an audience.
Yeah.
Which then that gives me hope to keep going with this thing.
Where in the world can you see on podcast outside of big places like Joe Rogan, where there's no courage with Joe Rogan anymore? He's when he first started, right? Joe Rogan started off as this super progressive Bernie Sanders motherfucker. And here he is talking to conservatives and Republicans. So that took courage, right? But where on TV and where on podcasting can you see men being courageous, vulnerable, and articulate about their fears, concerns, proud moments, right? Where do dads get to go to talk shit? What's the dad version of The View? The View is just 4 girls talking shit and masturbating to their own voices, right?
True.
That's all that is. It's
Very
just, what do you think? Right? That's all it is. Okay, that's fine. Where do dads get to do that? Right? Where do dads get to come off? Where do men in general get to have these kind of conversations? Yeah. I think that's your vulnerability brings out my vulnerability, right? And I think that is ultimately what the audience is drawn to. How can men both be strong and talk about these moments of weakness at the same time? I think you've captured that 100%.
Thanks, man.
100%.
Thank you.
Man, this is good shit, dude.
I love it.
This is good shit. I can't believe, first off, every time you tell me you're 53, I'm like, oh, are you sure? Because you have the energy of a young bull.
Thanks. And the funny part is, I'm 55.
Are you really?
55. November 23rd.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, I was born in 69.
Oh, shit. You're my mom's age. Damn, my mom's 55. Holy shit.
It's bananas. And I don't think about it a lot. I was talking to my daughter about it the other day because she's like, you're an older dad, but you don't act like an older dad. I go, I don't think I do. I'm just me, man. Like I have more aches and pains now, absolutely. But I'm getting back into the gym with my daughter. We love it.
Yeah.
That's what we did it last week. We'll be in this week again for spring break, and it's a good time.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to go over, and then we're good.
Okay.
All right. Sleepovers. Okay. And you know where I'm going with this. When I grew up, when I went to a sleepover, my parents would go meet the other parents.
Yeah.
Even when my mom was a single mom, meet the other mom or dad. What's going on? Get a lay of the land. That is gone now.
Yeah.
Like those parents could be, terrorists from Iran. They could be, doing all types of nefarious things. The kids don't want me to meet the other parents.
Yeah.
Why?
If you drop your kids off at somebody's house and you don't vet that parent in their house, I think you're fucking insane. With what's going on in the world, with how many people have access to God knows what, with pills, drugs, you don't know what could be in somebody's house. You don't know who they're dating. You don't know who they're bringing over. You don't know if they're going to be there. How can you just drop your kid?
It's bananas. It is bananas, and it is something that you're looked at, you're ostracized by your kid if you ask that, if you want that to happen. And so I'm glad that I'm not alone with this.
No.
Because that's crazy to me.
Fucking insane.
That's crazy to me that the kids, and I don't know why. I think it's because they don't have the social maturity. Like when I was a kid, you were like, Mom, come here. This is, Sean Kutri's mom,
Always.
Sue Kutri, Donna Fargo, blah, 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 But even like, I was raised in a small town, Canandaigua, New York, small town in upstate New York.
Yeah.
But still, it was common courtesy that when you went to stay at someone's house, you met those parents.
Yeah.
The parents met the parents. That doesn't happen anymore.
No, you've got to do the vet process. I need to pretend I have to go to the bathroom so I can check your medicine cabinet and make sure you're not some freaking pill popping animal. I need to know these things, right? Yeah. I don't judge anybody, but I definitely want to control who my kid is around, right? As we said earlier, there's all these outside influences on your kid, and you have to try to protect them from as many of these weaknesses as humanly possible.
24/7.
I don't know what movies you let your kids watch. I don't know what music you let your kids watch. I don't know what level of, interaction you're comfortable with. I don't know if you're going to be here all night to supervise these kids. I don't know what your little kid is into, right? I need to know at least something.
Yep.
And these parents just drop their kids off. No coming to the doorstep, not even seeing if I'm home or not. These kids could have lied to you, right? We had a sleepover the other day. 5 kids got dropped off at my house. Parents never even came inside. This could have been a party, right? They could have had boys here. This could have been a setup. And they didn't even check to see if it was valid. And that it reinforced the idea that I must protect my kid from who she spends time with.
Well said, sir.
I'm glad we agreed on that, man. If we had disagreed, I'd have.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's a small thing that I judge very deeply.
It's a huge thing,
right?
To me. That's a big thing to me.
Right?
Big,
in a relationship, a marriage where something small and insignificant, but for some reason it becomes the standard bearer for everything that's wrong. Mm-hmm. To me, that's that situation.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Very good.
This was good stuff.
The end of another successful conversation. Like, comment, subscribe. If you think we're doing well, let us know. If you want to give us advice on stuff or other topics you want to hear us talk about, drop a comment below.
Yeah, of course. Dads, keep pouring in here. Like Jeff said, we're getting a lot of support from Black men who really want to talk about these things. So please keep sharing why these issues are important to you. And I think this is something that can unite all dads. So I'm glad we're having these conversations.
Agreed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, bro.